All right, you ready?
Yeah.
All right, tonight, why don't you lube up with baby shampoo so there's no more tears?
Oh, that is horrible. Oh my gosh. Oh, I'm sitting here trying to get situated and like it registered what you had just said. No. Oh my god. They get worse every time. It's like boom, 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 boom.
Those are my favorite. I'm sorry. It's so
This is,
clever too because no more tears, and that's the logo or what is it? The slogan for baby shampoo.
yeah, but this explains why like the other day when you told me like did a pickup line, like I knew what you were gonna say. You've corrupted me. Oh my gosh, as I hit the after all these years, you have corrupted me.
I don't think you're fully corrupted. I think you might be working your way up there. Maybe.
Well, you know what they say, the best kind of music to listen to when you're fishing, right?
What?
Something catchy.
Uh,
See what I did there?
I saw. I saw. So, to
Uh,
everybody who's coming in, thanks for all the chats. We are recording episode 9 of our podcast, Appropriately Inappropriate. So, you guys get to hang out with us and give your input if you'd like.
yeah,
So, welcome
we apologize on the front end.
for what? I'm
What
not
a-
apologizing for anything.
Okay, I'll be sorry. I'm sorry for both of us.
So, welcome to Appropriately Inappropriate with Tara and Brian. We let our listeners know last time that we'd be talking about single life versus married life. I have a whole story that I think captures it for me. Do you want to start? You want me to start?
Yeah, I wasn't single long.
You're just like jumping ship from vagina to vagina.
Oh my gosh, honey, Jesus, that is awful. So if you guys, so anyone that doesn't know my backstory, I got married in my 20s. My oldest daughter's from my first marriage. Um, that did not work out. I mean, we were two people who are better apart. We got a great daughter out of the deal. I wouldn't trade any of my kids for anything. Um, Fantastic young lady, great head on her shoulders. We're just an amazing kid. But I was single for a long time. Um, I would not trade my marriage, my wife, my children, my life for anything in this world. I mean, I say that on a regular basis. Um, when I speak about my wife, so I'm not just saying it here for brownie points. That is the truth. I mean, single life is. I mean, it's they both have their ups and downs, their pros, their cons. But I wouldn't trade my life for anything today.
I think the best example of, for me, the difference between single life versus married life is a few weeks ago, I was preparing to take our youngest daughter to her ballet class. And I had gotten her ready. I'd gotten her situated. She was having a snack, and I started really not feeling well, like really, really, really not feeling well, to the point that I was like, I think I might shit myself.
Oh,
So I just decide, I was like, I've got to take her to the ballet class. She's so excited. So I go ahead and I just sit down and I sit very still. Like I'm worried it's like, I'm hiding from a T-Rex or something. And if I move, it's going to get me. And I'm just sitting there extremely still. Okay. And I do that for about 20 minutes. And then it's time to leave to take our daughter to her class. And I get up and I'm like, okay, is it going to happen? What's going to happen here? And it seemed like it had passed. And I was like, okay, maybe it's not a problem. So I take my daughter to her class. I get her situated and I decide to go wait in my car. And as I'm sitting in the car and her class is progressing, I start profusely sweating. I'm just horribly sweating, And I texted Brian. I was like, hey, man, something is not right. I might need you to come get our daughter from her class. And you were like hauling butt from somewhere, like 30 or 40 minutes away. You were like hauling butt. You're like, I'm going to try to get there on time and blah, blah, blah. And it's time for me to go get her. So I go to get her. And the whole time I'm sweating and I was like, something's wrong. Something's going to happen. Okay. So I take her out of her class. I'm walking through the parking lot and I just shit myself. Just like straight up. Straight up.
See,
Just straight up. There's no I didn't fart, I didn't cough, I didn't sneeze. There was like no warning.
but okay,
No
like
warning.
you're painting a picture like a toddler just lets it go. Like, I mean, yes, but I mean, it wasn't like you just like, oh, this is great, I'm done.
No, no. So that happens, and I'm texting
uh,
you, and I was like, "Dude, it just happened. It just happened." And you're still really far away. And I was like,
uh,
our daughter is like crying hysterically because I have denied her ice cream because I was like, your mother and you need to get home. And you're trying to haul butt to pick up your shit covered wife and your toddler,
jeez.
you know? So you're trying to collect us,
My potty
including
trained toddler. Uh,
you're trying to collect us. Okay. And I'm like, I just got to get
uh,
home. I get the daughter in the car. I make it home. It's like I corked myself to get home, and I offload our daughter into, onto you. And then I go and wreck a bathroom for ages, and I come out and I like let you know all the details of what happened. And you still bone me on a regular basis.
that is married life.
That is married life, I just feel like that really that really just summarizes what it is for us as a couple, is that when you're single, like, I would have been telling my friends that and laughing hysterically, and I wouldn't have had the help and support that I had along the way. I wouldn't be, like, reaching out to them for emotional support. I wouldn't I wouldn't they wouldn't have been waiting at our home to take our daughter. you know that's a partnership that I have with you, and I love being married with you. I loved being single too. It was not bad. I know that some of the chatters were like like single life sucks, and yeah, it can suck. I think it's a lot about your perception. I enjoyed hanging out with my friends. I would bike a lot. I think there's good to both, because I was also married before, and I also really hated being married before.
Yeah.
So I think it's a lot about how you choose to spend your time and who you spend it with.
Well, I mean, first of all, they say it happens. So that's the bumper
Shit
sticker.
happens. Shit
It's
happens.
very true. I know. I
I also
mean,
had the norovirus, let me say that.
okay,
And if
yeah,
it's not like this just casually happens all the
yeah,
time.
yeah. Oh, it's Tuesday. It's my bowel movement. Um, no, it's for me. People need to get comfortable with being yourself. Like, that was a huge step for me, getting comfortable. The biggest difference is single life and married life is I lived a very rigorous schedule as a single guy. Like, everything was planned, meal prepping, workout same time, get up, do my cardio, get ready for work, go to the like, everything was boom, 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 boom. Weekends were, what, I feel like a movie. Like, I'm not the party guy. I'm not the guy's weekend guy. I very much value um, being at home, I guess is the best way to put it. You enjoy that. Like, we like our trips and stuff, but I mean, we have what's the sign that hangs in our house?
Let's stay home.
Yeah, I mean, that is very much us. So I, it's, but I miss so much. Like, I miss the joys of having a partner, being single. Like, the biggest issue I had going through a divorce was not seeing my child every day. Like, that is the one thing I struggled with, because I mean, like, I adore my wife, I adore my kids. But having the young little ones again in my home, like I wouldn't trade it. Like, they're kids. We have our ups and downs. We have our teenagers around the corner, but still wouldn't trade it for anything. Like, I've been through it before. I know it's coming.
And we're
This will
just
be your first time. So yeah, I very much like I enjoy being married. I mean, you're my best friend. I don't know any other way to put it.
I really enjoy being married to you.
Oh,
You specifically. And I think that says, I mean, it's really about the people that you are, the people that you spend time with. That's what I think, and I think that's a good way to describe just some differences. I did have a friend, And Brian met her when we went and visited her. Um, the best way she described single life was that she changed the sheets between the guys because she was classy. And honestly, that's really respectful. Like if you're gonna mussy up those sheets, being messy,
Uh,
might as well change them between them.
yeah, I was just shocked when that came out of her. Like she just didn't, set up for it. Just like, oh, change the sheet.
She's classy. She's a good classy lady, like I am.
Oh,
All
gosh.
right. So we'll do a segment called Inappropriate Advice. I've gotten a couple from some listeners, and if y'all who are listening now want to share any areas or issues that you're having that you'd like some advice. So this first one is I enjoy being alone a lot, but I have a girlfriend I love. What do I do? I think this is definitely a question for you, Brian.
So I was single. I mean, you just have to make time for you. My time is usually very, very early in the morning. I'm an early bird. So I get up, I do my thing. But I prioritize my time with my wife and my kids during, well, I guess I mean, at work. So during hours after work and before bed.
Yeah. I think I mean, I like being alone too. I like my alone time. You and I are very good with each other in that we both like our alone time and we're both sort of okay, sort of going off to our own little worlds. And I think that's just a conversation to have with somebody of like, hey, like these are the times where I really need some alone time. And then I'll check in with you at this time and honoring that, like following through on that commitment, I think would matter a lot.
Yeah, sometimes in a boyfriend girlfriend situation, the other one's feelings might get a little hurt. I mean, you just need to be upfront on it. Like it's nothing against you because you are someone that like when it is time for your alone time, like you have to have it. Like my feelings can't get hurt. I'm like, oh, she doesn't want to be around me. I understand. Like she needs this. She needs to be away from me. She needs to be away from the kids. Like she needs this.
Yeah. So I do need to point out just some of the things our viewers have said.
Oh my gosh.
Can't let the new guys see the old snail trails. That yeah, if you want to stay a classy lady,
Oh.
especially if your old snail trail is more significant than what the new guy gives you.
Oh
You,
my
de-
gosh.
you
This
definitely
is
don't want
going
to make him insecure off the bat.
every
That's just
episode we do is a conversation I never thought I'd have. Oh my gosh.
This next one is how would you deal with completely different political views? Okay, this is a question we've actually gotten a lot. Insecurities are the enemy of true love, Benjamin said. And yeah, like you have to be secure with yourself. You have to be secure with your relationship. But anyway, different political views. Okay. All right. I think it depends upon the political views that are different. Okay.
Yeah.
So some political views are moral issues, and you can't a relationship is not going to last long if you have different moral values. And so I think it really comes down to that is what kind of different political views and do they actually verge into like the moral category versus not. You and I have the same moral beliefs and moral values. And so even though we differ on several political things, that doesn't matter as much because we still have our moral values aligned.
Yeah, it's what's emotional. So think about moral values. I mean, in the views, if the views are emotional to you, then that's not going to mesh well. But I mean, if it's something that's not emotional that you can live with, it's not really a big deal. Like,
Yeah. And I guess like an insecure thing or not an insecure, if we're going with inappropriate, it doesn't really matter their political views if you put something in their mouth and they're
oh
not
my
talking.
God, Jesus.
Just saying. Just, as soon as they start talking about something you don't want to hear about, put something
Oh
in that mouth.
gosh, yeah.
They can't talk and eat at the same time.
Oh my gosh. Like there's nowhere for me to run or hide. Like I'm stuck. Like I'm stuck for the duration of this.
It's funny because your hat's kind of covering your face, which kind of looks like Emperor Palpatine from Star Wars, because all that you really see is like his mouth. It's like duh duh duh.
Join the dark side.
Uh, I'll
Yeah.
just bend over and show you
Oh
my
my
beard
gosh. Oh
today.
my gosh. That went south fast.
You
Uh,
can show me your force.
oh my gosh.
All right, the next one. My spouse and I are in therapy because things have been hard. Sometimes it feels like therapy isn't working. Do you have any suggestions?
Okay, so nothing wrong with going to therapy. We actually went to premarital counseling. As we knew before we got engaged, actually, we knew we
Right.
were going to get engaged. We both wanted to make sure that, you're going into a second marriage, you're nervous. We both wanted to make sure that this was a good fit. I mean, if it's not working, the appropriate advice I will give you is you need to bring this up in therapy and kind of put it all out there. I find the more open and honest you are, both of you, in that situation, the better results you're going to receive.
I think it's also so that I just need to point out I was in a marriage before. It was not a good marriage. I don't really share a lot about it, but what I will say is we went to therapy for a long time, pretty much the entirety of that relationship. And it is impossible for things to fix or improve if one of the people is lying. So I was in a relationship with someone who had been hiding a really major secret for the entire relationship. And so that's kind of like there's nothing I could have done differently to improve that relationship because I was being totally open and honest. My partner was not. And so for therapy to work, both of you have to be
Yeah.
willing to put that work in, be open and honest. And if you're putting in your all and they're not, it'll become pretty obvious. And the fact that we have both been divorced and both have what I feel like is an extremely happy marriage is that it's possible to get out of something and find something so much better.
Well, one thing I do share with people is, in a relationship, in a marriage, you have to have love, trust, communication, mutual respect. Mutual respect is a key piece because if that ever leaves, that's when resentment starts setting in. When resentment starts setting in, it can put your relationship into a nosedive that is impossible to pull out. Once trust is broken, that is something very, very difficult to get back. But one thing with my wife and I is we are two people who are always willing to put in the work. Our marriage is not any different than anyone else out there. We're just willing to communicate. We love each other. We trust each other. We respect each other. We put in the work.
Yeah. And I will say effort's important too. Like,
That's what I mean by putting in the work.
yeah, like I guess I use the word effort just because work sounds like, oh, it's a job, it's
Yeah.
boring. I really enjoy putting effort in and
Well,
work that dick when I can
oh
too.
my gosh. Anything worth having is worth working for.
All right. Somebody asked, what do you do when you want that family feeling, but your husband wants to stay busy until bedtime? I want to hang with the kids for 2 hours before bed, but it's always me by myself with them. So Brian and I have talked about this a lot. And this is actually a conversation that we had before we ever got engaged, ever got married, because I knew this from my first marriage that division of labor was a really sore point in that
Mm.
first relationship because I ended up doing a lot more than my partner. And we both were that was just a point of argument for both of us is like who's doing and it became a competition, like who's doing more, And so any of our conversations about it were not effective or conducive. Okay. So for one, it should be a conversation you have with your husband of like, "Hey, I would like XYZ. Is that something you're willing to do? And if not, can we compromise? Maybe a couple days a week we're able to do that together, But if it's just you alone handling bedtime every day, that would be fine to me, honestly, if Brian was doing mornings, you
Yeah.
know? It's just seeing if there's some kinda balance there or a compromise that can be brought up. I really love the book Fair Play. I really highly recommend it, but it helps sorta have these conversations because Brian, for one, for before we got married, like, he didn't realize how much I was doing as a primary parent because he hadn't been a primary parent in the way that I had before.
Mhm.
And now we have 4 kids, you know, so we've added a lot more kids to the mix to have to figure out and manage, and it just being able to have those conversations and respect each other's effort and work because it's even if you're not paid for it, it's still work. It's a lot of work taking care of kids and making sure that they don't, you know, they don't eat something they shouldn't or stick their finger in an outlet. It's a lot of work taking care of kids and very exhausting.
Yeah.
Yeah,
100%.
yeah, and if I'm exhausted, I don't wanna have sex. So Brian works really good to make sure I'm not exhausted. So we're
Well,
very happy for him.
I'm an early bird, you're a night owl.
Yes.
My time, like, I do the mornings, and, and in the evenings, because we don't have a fair day-to-day split. Like, there's times I go out of town, there's times I'm tied up doing things or get pulled away, maybe someone's pinging me after hours. So in situations like that, I do give every effort to kind of step in the evenings and help give you a break. But I mean, for the most part, I mean, like I tell everybody, the woman's a saint. Like when the oldest is at school, I leave to go out of town for 2 or 3 days. I'm leaving her with 3 kids.
We both know that I am not a saint. I'm more like the sinner, my love.
Oh my gosh. I'm trying to give you a compliment. Just say thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. But I just wanna point out that the word fair doesn't really matter when it comes to families. Like, I've heard some
No.
people be like, "Well, our division is not 50-50." It's never gonna be 50-50. Literally never.
Oh,
So oh,
oh,
someone said tied up doing things, Brian.
oh my gosh.
Tied up doing things.
Yeah. Not when I'm out of town. I'm literally that's the figure of
Only at home. Only
uh,
at home.
yeah, I started down that path, but I cut myself off real quick because I knew you were gonna run with it.
It's funny because our followers are just like me, clearly, because 2
Yeah.
people put it up.
Uh,
But, yeah, there's no such thing as 50-50 when it comes to raising families and kids.
no, it's two people giving 100%. There's time. Like I was sick. Last week? Like I
Yeah.
worked Thursday, Friday with I worked Thursday with like 103 fever and worked Friday with like 102. I was just I was dead to the world, when I got done. There wasn't a whole I was no value around this house. But then there's times that, you were sick for a little while there. And
Mhm.
I mean, I step up. So we're giving 100%. Some days you're not at 100. I have to step in. Some days I'm not at 100. You have to step in.
Yeah, and if I start to get overwhelmed or exhausted and feel like there's some kinda, you know, I don't know, feel like I'm doing more than Brian, I talk to him about it, you know?
Yeah,
And
I can pick up on it. I mean, at this point, I can.
yeah.
But typical. You know, if I wanted to be a selfish prick, I would just say, "Oh," I would just ignore it, knowing that you're struggling, and but I pick up on it.
Yeah, yeah, you do today. But I'm also better about talking to you
Oh yeah,
about
oh
it, you
yeah,
know?
yeah.
There'd be at other times where I'd just be, like, scowling at him from across the room. I'm like, "Why can't you read my mind, motherfucker?"
Yeah. First year of marriage. Yep, that's year one.
But, yeah, we've gotten a lot better. The communication is something we've just had to learn over time from being together. Like, we've talked about this, I think, on a previous episode, that when it comes to, like, for example, initiating, love making, like, I learned, like, I have to be very, very direct, and part of it is because we're jokey all the time, like, I'm always doing these pickup lines whether we're on camera or not, and so he wouldn't necessarily know that I was being serious this time because I drop them all the time even when there's no opportunity for us to do anything, you know? So I'd have to be very direct, like, "Hey, take your pants off." Go over there. We have 5 minutes.
So, in my defense, I consider myself like, what do you call putting signals out, signal illiterate, because I
Yeah.
don't pick up on stuff like that. I really don't. So the more direct she is with me, the better.
Yeah, and actually vice versa, like, I wouldn't necessarily Brian does joke back, it's different than I do, he's not as risque or as bold or aggressive as I am with his jokes, but he'll
Even
say
off camera.
even off camera, he's always gonna blush and everything with the light and the camera on, but he'll drop some things, and I'm like, I don't really know if he's being serious or not, and I had to, like, let him know of, "Hey, if you if you want something, be more direct," and now he's learned, he's getting better. Um, I have been divorced for 8 years. My ex-wife was very controlling, and now my girlfriend I have now doesn't know what to do in some situations. Oh, you Brian and I have had so much experience in this.
Yeah. Um, so I guess you'd have to elaborate a little bit more. I mean, if it's I was in a situation where someone tried to control me, and I was very resistant of it. I was faulting my wife who had no fault. Just kind of went in that. One of the things that I did though prior to getting in my marriage was really kind of figure out what it was that I wanted. Why did I continue to attract the same kind? That's what I was same type of person. That's what I was comfortable with. And when I figured out what it was that I would tolerate, not tolerate, wanted in my life, it instantly improved. So there wasn't a whole, like, it's just it's different being with you. So I didn't really have to go through that. But I mean, communication, communication, communication. Like if something's happening you're not liking, communicate about it. That's the only way that two people can work through. Like you can think all you want in your head. I'm never going to be able to read your mind.
Yeah. So can I share why your first marriage ended?
No, I don't want to put that out
Okay.
there. We
Well,
gotta.
Brian's first marriage ended for a specific thing that I was then accused of. Can I say that?
I wouldn't say you were never. A, I
Worried about
was
you
is
worried about
worried.
it.
Yeah,
You were worried
yeah,
about it.
yeah.
And it was something I had never experienced in a relationship before. I'd never had a partner worry that I would do the same thing. I was never worried. And so I didn't know how to react in that situation. I remember attempting to you started interrogating me, like asking me a bunch of questions. And I got really flustered and defensive, which you then took to mean that I had done this thing that you were worrying that I had
Okay, this
done.
was This was like before marriage, so it's
Oh
not
yeah,
like
this is like
this
early on
isn't like
dating.
last week.
No, no, no. This was early on dating. And I didn't know what to do. I was very confused and unsettled. And I remember talking with a friend, and I was seeing a therapist at the time and talking with them, and they sort of walked me through probably what was happening for Brian and having some awareness of, oh, okay, this is maybe what was happening for him. I was then able to go and talk to him and be like, hey, is this what was happening? Because I need some better understanding of why this happened so I can figure out how to respond to it in the future. And the next time it happened, I was able to calm Brian and sort of get him to be less emotional and more logical about the situation and to not react in the moment. And that's what I needed to not do was react. Because when I reacted and I got emotional and flustered, it just made
Oh,
him get
it's
even
two
more
people
emotional
out.
and
Yeah.
flustered, right? So I had to sort of learn that. And Brian's had to deal with that from the other side. So I will share that my ex-husband stole a lot of money, okay? And he stole a lot of money, and the way that I found out about it was because he had been using this credit card. He'd been using this credit card that I had access to, but never thought to check. Okay. And so after we got married, I found myself constantly looking at all of our credit
Oh,
cards.
yeah. What'd you
I
take
mean,
$20 out for?
yeah, like constantly looking at our credit cards, being worried because I had been, hoodwinked in the first marriage. I just felt like I'd just been stupid and gullible and I should have never trusted. I mean, I was married to him. I should have trusted him, but clearly it turned out that I shouldn't have. So I found myself looking at this all the time, and Brian was like Brian was like, I just took $20 out so I could have cash in my wallet so I could buy something, you
Well, I
know?
think one thing I remember, it was like I took $120 out. And you took $120 out like 2 weeks ago. Where's it at? And I like it's still in my wallet. Like, here, would you like it? So yeah, but I mean, for me, it wasn't fair for me to fault you for what someone else did,
Right.
and that
And
was what
vice
I had to come to
versa.
terms with.
Yeah, and
If
vice versa. So,
this
like,
is not that person.
that was both of us bringing some baggage into the relationship, and the person who is in the relationship with the other needs to learn how to not react and get calm and see it for what it is, that it's not the present situation, it's some baggage being brought into it.
Yeah.
All right, what experience on your first date led to the second? In other words, how did you know that each other were people you wanted to see again? I
Oh wow.
really it's a great first question. Okay, I guess I'll start. When Brian is so easy to talk to, and he's very light and positive and was very interested in learning more about me. It was an extremely attractive quality to me that he just would sit and listen, and I felt like I could be myself, that I could be genuine, that I didn't have to pretend or be anyone else, and that he liked the person who I was. And that was really attractive to me. I was at this point in dating where I was like, if somebody doesn't like me, I don't give a fuck. I'm just gonna move on. You know, I like myself, and that's all that really matters. And Brian was that person. He was cool with it. And I felt like he was very genuine himself. He was clearly very handsome. And he, you know, you wouldn't know it from our pickup lines, honestly, because he comes across as real, I don't know what wholesome. I'll say that. Wholesome, embarrassed by all the lines, but this guy's got some game. He really does. He asked me on the date. He initiated the first kiss, and I wanted to see him after the first date. I
Yeah,
did.
I have
You thought,
Monopoly, Trivia
oh
Pursuit,
my God.
Game of Life.
But you thought I wouldn't ever see you again after the first date.
Well, I mean, I knew you were a three dater. I was gonna have to put in a little bit of time to get.
Are what are you even talking about? I
No,
never said those words.
totally joking. No, I mean, so obviously, I like we met on a dating app.
We met
So
on Tinder.
yeah, and it like you looked better in person than you actually like. You were beautiful in your pictures, but you looked better in person. You came in with a great big smile. I think you noticed, like, I kind of looked down and grinned. I mean, we just had a really great conversation, a really great dinner. I knew while we were sitting there, like, I wanted a second date. I walked her to her car. I was very polite. Like, I asked you for your permission to kiss you. I kissed you. You gave me back a ride to your truck. I got a little handsy, and I was like, oh.
Okay, I was wearing a padded bra, because I want to like give a breast impression. I don't have a lot up top, so I was wearing a padded bra, and Brian got a little gropey, and I was like, I said to him, I was like, you're groping a little bit, and he got extremely embarrassed. He was like, oh God, and he thought I would never talk to him again.
But I got a second date out of it, a third, and
A marriage, a
a
child,
marriage, a
yeah.
mortgage, a couple, a couple vehicles.
And we went from met to married and
Oh,
almost
8 months.
exactly,
Oh,
was it 8 months or 9
it
months?
was 8 months. Hey,
Uh,
we met November, married in July. We were originally going to get married around 1 year, but your landlord threw us the curveball.
right, right. So, life's funny. My friends were terrified of that whole situation, especially because I'd just come out of an extremely awful. I was by that point I'd filed for divorce, but my divorce took 11 months to finalize, and the month before my divorce was finalized is when Brian and I met. And that was my friends were terrified for me because that situation that I'd left was not good. But you just, life's funny. And here we are years later, and life's good. So I think we'll probably wrap up here. So next episode, we'll be chatting with Steve and Kristen Wiltz. They're the write that down. I keep saying it wrong. The write that down couple. Make sure to subscribe, download, like, and follow for that if you liked this podcast or this live stream. Also, make sure to write a review. If you have a comment, story, or question, DM us on Instagram or comment. Follow us too at Tara Blairball on Instagram and TikTok, or at Tara.Blairball on YouTube. Our full episodes appear on our YouTube, so this episode will actually appear on our YouTube tomorrow. And we also offer bonus episodes 3 to 4 times a month for our paid subscribers on Spotify, so check out the show notes for that. Until next time, keep it inappropriate. All right. Thanks, guys. So glad y'all got to hang out with us. And yes, Benjamin, divorce is hell. I don't recommend it. Brian and I joke that, we're not going to divorce. We're just going to bury one or the other in the backyard.
Even if you want the divorce, even if you want it, it's still hell. Especially with kids and having to adjust but it's worth it.
Yeah, it really was. It doesn't feel worth it probably until some time, but you need a tally of times Brian blushes.
Oh my gosh. This is probably 2,000,005. No.
We actually made a joke before our very first podcast episode that we would have a drinking game of every time Brian said, "Oh my God," or blushed, someone would take a drink, but we were worried that someone would get alcohol poisoning. So we don't actually recommend that.
You wouldn't even make it to the Uber on speed dial. It'd be 911.
Bye, guys. Thanks so much.
Thanks, everyone. Bye.